You don't realize it at first. There's no rejection, no clear ending, no moment you can point to and say, this is where it went wrong. You're still there, still being replied to, still being kept close. But something feels off. Because the most dangerous position you can be in isn't being unwanted, it's being convenient. It's being the person someone turns to when they're bored, lonely, or unsure, while never fully choosing you. And the reason this role is so destructive is because nobody warns you when you've stepped into it. You just slowly disappear inside someone else's indecision. Being chosen sometimes feels better than being rejected outright. That's the trap. When attention comes and goes, your mind starts filling in the gaps. You tell yourself the inconsistency means something is building, that the silence is just bad timing, that the distance will eventually turn into depth. But what's really happening is psychological conditioning. Unpredictable attention hits harder than consistent care. It's the same mechanism that keeps people pulling slot machines and refreshing their phones. Every reply feels like relief. Every delay creates anxiety. And without realizing it, your emotional state becomes tied to someone else's availability. You stop asking whether the connection is healthy and start asking when the next hit of attention will come. That's when attachment replaces clarity. Not because the connection is strong, but because it's unstable. Once you're caught in that instability, explaining yourself starts to feel urgent. You replay conversations in your head, rewrite messages, soften your needs, clarify your intentions, all in hopes that if you just say it the right way, they'll finally understand your value. But that instinct doesn't come from confidence. It comes from conditioning. Many people were taught early that love is earned through effort, patience, and self-sacrifice. So when someone pulls away, the reflex isn't to step back, it's to perform harder, to be clearer, kinder, more accommodating. What no one tells you is that respect doesn't grow from explanations, it grows from standards. And the moment you feel the need to convince someone why you matter, you've already accepted a role where your worth is up for debate. This is where things get confusing because attention can look a lot like care on the surface. Messages come in, reactions show up, there's flirting, jokes, late-night conversations. But intimacy isn't built on moments, it's built on consistency. Attention asks, are you available right now? Intimacy asks, do you matter when it's inconvenient? When someone gives you energy only when it suits them, you start mistaking access for closeness. You feel connected, yet unsupported, seen, yet not secure, and over time that imbalance drains you, because your nervous system stays on alert, waiting for the next signal, the next sign that you're still relevant. Real intimacy doesn't keep you guessing. If someone's presence disappears the moment something better shows up, what you had wasn't connection, it was access. Most people think boundaries are something you announce once and then move on. You say what you won't tolerate, you explain how you expect to be treated, and you assume the message will stick. But boundaries don't live in words, they live in behavior. The illusion is believing that stating a limit is the same as enforcing it. When someone crosses a line and nothing changes, the boundary quietly dissolves. Not because they didn't hear you, but because they learned there was no cost. And this is where fear creeps in. The fear that enforcing a boundary will push them away, that you'll lose the connection entirely. But what often goes unspoken is this: if someone only stays when you abandon your standards, they were never staying for you. Real boundaries don't demand compliance, they reveal alignment. As this pattern continues, something subtle starts to happen. Your focus shifts, not all at once, but in small, almost invisible ways. Your attention drifts from your goals to your phone, from your growth to their mood, from building your life to monitoring their interest. You still show up to work, still go through the motions, but the edge is gone. The clarity you once had gets replaced by mental noise, and the most dangerous part is that it feels normal. You tell yourself it's just temporary, that once things settle, you'll get back on track. But distraction doesn't announce itself as collapse. It erodes you quietly. You don't lose people first, you lose direction. And when your identity starts orbiting someone else's attention, your own life begins to stall. When the confusion becomes unbearable, the mind looks for one last solution: closure. You tell yourself that if you could just understand why it happened, if you could hear the right explanation, the pain would finally settle. But closure is rarely about understanding. It's about postponing acceptance. It keeps you emotionally tethered to someone who already moved on, replaying conversations, waiting for a message that will suddenly make everything make sense. Growth works in the opposite direction. It doesn't wait for answers from the person who caused the confusion. It creates distance and lets reality speak for itself. Because the truth is, explanations don't heal patterns. Decisions do. And the moment you stop chasing clarity from someone who benefited from your uncertainty, you step out of the loop and back into your own life.
There's a moment that doesn't look dramatic from the outside, but it changes everything internally. It's the moment you decide to stop explaining, stop reacting, stop trying to be seen correctly. You don't announce it, you don't make a scene, you just quietly remove yourself. And that silence isn't avoidance, it's self-control. Walking away without proving anything feels uncomfortable at first because ego wants resolution and pain wants acknowledgement. But strength doesn't come from being understood by the person who dismissed you. It comes from choosing alignment over attachment. When you stop engaging in what drains you, your energy returns. Not all at once, but steadily. And for the first time in a long while, your life stops revolving around someone else's response.
And then it happens. Slowly at first, almost imperceptibly, you start to notice the space around you isn't empty, it's yours. Your thoughts are no longer hijacked by what they might say or do. Your energy isn't borrowed from someone else's attention, it's cultivated by your own actions. The version of you who waited, explained, hoped, and justified begins to fade, replaced by someone quieter, firmer, and undeniably present. This is the point where identity is rebuilt, not in reaction to loss, but in alignment with purpose. Every choice, every small habit, every disciplined step compounds. You no longer chase validation. You don't seek permission to matter. You matter because you've remembered what was always true. Your presence carries weight. Your life has direction, and your worth is self-determined. This is the pivot, the breakthrough, the transformation that doesn't need applause to be real. And now, everything comes together. You stop asking for recognition, stop explaining your worth, and stop tolerating inconsistency. You focus on what you control, your habits, your goals, your growth. Your energy is no longer a gift to be tested. It is a standard you maintain for yourself. People who align with that standard will rise to meet it. Those who don't will fade without argument. You've moved from being convenient to being undeniable, from being an option to being the measure by which others are evaluated. And the most powerful part? You don't need anyone else to validate it. Your life, your discipline, your clarity, they speak louder than words ever could. The path forward is simple. Audit your attention, enforce your boundaries, and dedicate yourself to growth that can't be interrupted. Because when you live as the standard, nothing and no one can diminish the person you've become.